I will try to give you an overview of what I have learned as an entrepreneur in science communication using AI in terms of how you can more effectively share the research and increase its impact. And there are very discerning tricks and recipes that you can use in your work day to day to do this. So first of all, let me give you a very short context. Why does it matter that we tell stories of science based on actual evidence? It matters because there's a lot of fake news out there, and the way fake news are expressed, they carry a lot of certainty, which means that when you talk about science by accounting of the fact that science is uncertain, the fake news tend to win because they're claimed to be more certain. So that's really important. The other thing is we're very fortunate to live in this period of time because people are now recognizing the value of science and they have an increased interest towards science and medical research. So that's all good for science communication. And then another thing, as you're all aware, people funding research, funding agencies, research institutes always invariably ask scientists to communicate and disseminate the research finding that they have found. So again, this is a great time for science communication. So how can we successfully increase the impact of research studies? It's very simple. It all relies on the theory of communication. And there is an American mathematician and theorist who had studied how information theory works. And one of the key findings, and it's not the only one, was that in order to communicate from speaker A to audience B, you need to have a message that's redundant, which means it repeats itself in many different ways. And I'm sure in your personal life you find this to convince your children or to convince your work colleagues, you need to repeat the same message in multiple ways in multiple times. So this is a pyramid that shows how science communication and science dissemination works. At the bottom of the pyramid, you need to establish your strategy, how you're going to go about sharing your message, and what are your key messages. Then, in order to effectively communicate, you need to express your message in the variety of format, whether it's text, social media, interview, video, podcast, whatever you have. You need to plan for this to happen because you cannot communicate multiple content without planning. And then once it's done, you can distribute the content through social media, through audio and video channel and email channels. Once you've done that, you can start evaluating the effectiveness of your message distribution through analytics. And most of the tools that people use for distributing content have analytics attached to them. And that's how you know how effective your campaigns have been done. So the reason why I'm saying this today in this AI session is because we have, before we went to using AI tools, we have shown that to effectively communicate science, you need to actually summarize the content or summarize the message from the actual original scientific study. And that works because people are too busy. People don't have time to read a full scientific study nowadays. So we have shown in our work with scientific publishers that if we were to create a simple 300-word summary that explains what is in the scientific study, the impact is multiplied quite tremendously. So for scientific editors, this data is based on anecdotal evidence. It's not peer-reviewed data, but our customers have shown that when we create summaries, the number of downloads of the study increased by 3-fold. And when we distribute that summary through PR network like Alpha Galileo, Eureka, then they could potentially have a 5-fold increase in download. And of course, citation increase as well. So what we specialized in our experience was to turn these clinical studies, scientific studies, a presentation at medical conference, scientific conference, interview with experts into video, podcast, infographic, or article summary. And that involves a lot of work. It's not just about writing or about interviewing. It involves a lot of editing, a lot of planning, a lot of coordination. So in order to make this easier, we've developed a platform which allows to order content, and the platform has a workflow to go through all the steps of quality control that are featured here, which every piece of content we create is done. So with this sort of content factory, you're able to create enough messages to create that sense of redundancy, because you might have a single study, but you'll have a blog version, a video interview with the author, a podcast interview with a second author, an infographic that summarizes the key findings. So we have lots of examples of doing this sort of thing, like infographic, remote video interview, animation explaining how scientific mechanisms work. We've done interviews in podcast format, and we've done all these summarized type content. We know it works, and that's what gave us the idea to scale up, because those beautiful content pieces that you see here, they're professionally crafted. They're done by professional science communicators, like some of you. And the good news of this story is that in the future, your skills are going to be very important, but your work is not going to be the same as before, because AI tools are here to support you, which means that things are going to change a little bit. And what I mean by that is that your capabilities will be augmented by the fact that AI tools will possibly write part of your final content pieces, or they will help you in your research. And it's important that you realize that AI cannot do your job for you. They can only support you to an extent. So I'm going to give you an example of an application of AI using a different field than what a GPT does. GPT is a large language model which is based on machine learning. What it does is a plagiarism tool at scale. What we did, because we were working in scientific field, we wanted to avoid the hallucination, which are well known with large language models, and instead we are using natural language processing. And what this approach, which is a subcategory of AI, does, what this does is that it helps extract the most meaningful element from a scientific study. And we've proven with our professionally crafted summaries that with summaries you can attract an audience to your scientific work, or to that of your scientist in your institute. Now we're going to summarize with a machine. So I'm showing you here an example of a summary we've created by machine, which is structured in a particular way to give some context. So we automatically extract the most meaningful keywords of the study. We explain all the acronyms, because not everyone knows about these complicated acronyms. So it helps the reader understand what's in the paper. And we also give definitions of the technical terms. And then we provide a summary. And the summary is strictly constituted of sentences that appear in the source document. All we're doing is we're selectively extracting what's meaningful. And then we have a second kind of summary to help the end user digest the information quicker, is we extract the name of the author, their affiliation, where they published and when they published. We extract what they found, how they found this, and the future. So that's the kind of tools that are available to enhance productivity and to attract the attention of others into a large number of scientific studies. So to make this work even more convenient for people, we've developed a news feed. So all this does is we're sourcing open access studies, but this works also with your preferred studies. All your scientist studies can be used. we summarize them at scale, and then the end users has the possibility of selecting individual keywords to create their own feeds. So the benefits for the user is, of course, they keep an eye on what's going on in a particular subsection of science that's relevant to them, keywords selected. They can curate and shape their feed. They can save time on doing background work, and it allows them to focus on important source and increase their efficiency. For the moment, we have a prototype, and I'd like to share this. Sorry, I'm going to share a different window if I can. Yes, so I'm going to share a different window. If you can still see, can you see this window? Can you see it?
Yep, that's fine. Okay. Yes.
So this is actually a live summary that we've created on our platform. You have that same structure: who, what, how, future, plus the summary, plus the acronym, plus the late definition. So on top of that, we have productized this. So you can do your own search on gene therapy, and oh, sorry, it's already in there. GLP-1, which is the appetite suppressant, and you create your new feed about this particular topic. So you have all of your feeds, and each feed is made up. See, I'm going through the collection here. I have a great collection of feeds. See, this is my new one, the one I just created on GLP-1, which is appetite suppressant drugs. So each one of those are the latest open access studies in that field. And you can see they're structured in that way. So what this does, essentially, in a nutshell, is it allows people to keep an eye on their preferred topic. So as a public information officer or as a science communicator, this will save you time in being aware of what's going on. And it will also save you time in summarizing the studies that you want to look for yourself. So we also interface our own summarizer for you to use on an ad hoc basis. So this can be embedded. You can see in the demo sites, it's embedded in a gray site there. This can be embedded in any portal of your choice. So just coming back to this idea of AI making your life easier, and I'm just coming back to this presentation. So with the kind of tools that summarization provide, you can get to the information quicker, and you can also make decisions as to what information matters to you quicker. And now you're all aware that there are other tools that can write for you. I believe these tools are helpful to an extent because they could help you find ideas and arguments, but ultimately they don't work on their own. You have to learn to use them, and you have to supplement whatever writing the likes of GPT would do for you by having an editorial intervention, by improving the content with a human intervention. So humans are not cut out of the loop, but it could be their work much more efficient down the line.